Vince Young had the potential to become one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, but unfortunate circumstances prevented him from doing so. On today's episode of What If, we examine the career of Vince Young.
Vince Young is special.
He runs, he can jump, he can throw.
What a pass!
Vince was a freaking animal, man.
Are you at peace with your journey?
Hell no, I'm not at peace.
Born on May 18, 1983 in Houston, Texas, Vincent Paul Young Jr. had a traumatic childhood. As he grew up in a neighborhood where crime and gang activity were prevalent, and at the age of 7, he was struck by a vehicle as he was riding his bicycle, which nearly took his life. But despite these difficult circumstances, he became an all-world athlete at Madison High School, where he excelled in basketball and track and field, as he averaged 25 points per game in basketball and made the all-state team in track and field. But his true passion was football, as he compiled 12,987 yards of offense during his high school career, and he was named the National Player of the Year after compiling 3,819 yards and 59 touchdowns during his senior year. And after his incredible high school career, he attended the University of Texas to play for the legendary coach Mack Brown, and after beginning his freshman year as the backup, he took over midway through the season and started 7 games while having 17 total touchdowns and leading the Longhorns to the Holiday Bowl. And then in his sophomore year, he would take a step up in his play as he had 26 total touchdowns and led the Longhorns to the Rose Bowl. But in his junior year, he established himself as the most dynamic quarterback and player in college football, as he had 38 total touchdowns and 4,086 total yards of offense while leading the Longhorns to the Rose Bowl against USC. And in that game, he would have arguably the greatest performance in college football history, as he had 467 total yards of offense and 3 total touchdowns, leading the Longhorns to the Rose Bowl victory. And at this point, everyone knew that Vince Young was destined for greatness because he had a rare combination of size, speed, athleticism, and arm strength at the quarterback position. We had never seen a quarterback that was the dual threat player that he was. We saw a lot of players, come before him, like a Michael Vick or Randall Cunningham, and obviously they were really good passers and runners, but they did not have the strength, they didn't have the power, they didn't have the athleticism that he had. Vince Young was 6'5", 240 pounds, but can absolutely run like he was 6'1", 212 pounds. So he was very fast, he was very athletic, he had a strong arm, made great decisions with the football. And again, at this point, everyone knew that Vince Young was going to be a great player for years to come. And after his stellar collegiate career, the Tennessee Titans selected him with the 3rd pick in the 2006 NFL Draft. And after beginning his rookie season as the backup, he would take over in week 4 against the Dallas Cowboys, and he would have a great rookie year as he led the Titans to an 8-5 record in his 13 starts, compiling more than 19 total touchdowns and winning AP NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, and also making the Pro Bowl team. And in his second year, he led the Titans to their first playoff appearance since 2003, but unfortunately they lost in the wild card round to the San Diego Chargers. But despite that loss, everyone was still optimistic that Vince would be a great quarterback in the NFL for years to come because of how well he played in his first 2 seasons. But in 2008, he suffered a significant setback as he would sprain his MCL in week 1 against the Jaguars, and the following day, instead of going to the facility to receive treatment, he decided to hang out with his teammate Bo Scaife to decompress. But during this time, his mother was trying to get in contact with him, but she was unable to do so because he left his phone at his house. And so she contacted Jeff Fisher, who then contacted Nashville police. And when they were finally able to get in contact with Vince, they wanted him to come to the facility. But when he arrived to the facility, 8 police officers were there, which made it seem like he committed a crime, and he felt incredibly embarrassed and humiliated. He felt like Jeff Fisher did this on purpose. And I really feel like, y'all, that this incident was the beginning of the end of Jeff Fisher and Vince Young's relationship. It's not like they ever had a great relationship to begin with, because it's been well documented that Jeff Fisher never wanted to draft Vince Young in the first place. He wanted Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler was his guy, but Bud Adams, because of the Texas connection, he wanted Vince Young. So Bud Adams overruled Jeff Fisher, which obviously he had the right to do so because he was the owner, and he drafted Vince Young. And that really, upset and frustrated Jeff Fisher. So because of that, he never really, gave Vince Young the love and support that he needed to, y'all. And because of that, their relationship was never great, but it definitely really deteriorated with this incident because, again, Vince Young felt like that Jeff Fisher did this to really embarrass him and humiliate him, because Jeff Fisher made it seem like Vince Young wanted to commit suicide just because he was carrying the gun, y'all. And turned to find out the gun wasn't even loaded, and he actually had a permit to carry the gun. But Jeff Fisher never told the media that. He just made it seem like Vince Young was trying to harm himself. So this was incredibly embarrassing for Vince Young, and obviously he was already having a difficult time because, the previous day the Titans had lost to the Jaguars. He sprained his MCL, so he was going to be out for several weeks. But unfortunately, he never would come back in the 2008 season, as Jeff Fisher elected to keep Kerry Collins in as the starting quarterback. And so the following season in 2009, Jeff Fisher stated that Vince Young was going to do whatever it would take to get his starting quarterback job back, as he had the ultimate confidence in Kerry Collins in being his starting quarterback. But the Titans would start the 2009 season 0-6, including a 59-0 loss to the New England Patriots. And after that game, Bud Adams instructed Jeff Fisher to put in Vince Young as the starting quarterback. But initially, Jeff Fisher was reluctant to doing so because he felt like that the Titans' record was not an indication of Kerry Collins, and that their record was terrible because their team wasn't playing well, when in actuality, Kerry Collins, y'all, was statistically the worst quarterback in the NFL during those 6 games. But Jeff Fisher still wanted to put Kerry Collins in. But after much consideration between he and Bud Adams, he finally caved in and made Vince Young the starter. And that was a great decision, as Vince Young would lead the Titans to an 8-2 record the remainder of the season, and he would make his second Pro Bowl team. And just like that, Vince Young had the confidence of everyone again after, only playing in 3 games in 2008, and it seemed like, his career was kind of shaky at that point. He would have a massive comeback year in 2009 and remind people why he was one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL. So going into the 2010 season, expectations were incredibly high for the Titans to finally get over their hump and become a Super Bowl caliber team. But unfortunately, in the 2010 season, during week 11 to the Washington Redskins, Vince Young would tear his tendon in his right thumb. And although he pleaded with Jeff Fisher to put him back in the game, Jeff Fisher elected to keep Rusty Smith in the game. And following that game, Vince Young was incredibly irate as he threw his shoulder pads and jersey to the fans, and he stormed out of then LP Field. And it was reported that Jeff Fisher stated, "Vince, don't run out on your team." And Vince told him, "I'm not running out on my team, I'm running out on you, y'all." And in January 5th, 2011, Titans then owner Bud Adams issued a press release stating that Vince Young would no longer be on the team's roster moving forward. And just like that, Vince Young's career with the Titans came to an abrupt end. And I think, y'all, Vince Young is one of the biggest what ifs in NFL history, because he had all the talent in the world to become one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in NFL history. Again, as I stated earlier, he had incredible size, speed, strength, athleticism. And then I know he wasn't the best passer in the world, but he had incredible arm strength, and he had started to improve as a passer. As actually in the 2010 season, it was his best year statistically throwing, as he had 10 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, had a 98.6 passer rate. So he was starting to improve as a passer. We know he had incredible athleticism. He could run the football at an extremely high level. So he was really starting to just come into his prime. But unfortunately, he played for a coach, y'all, that never believed in him. I mean, can you imagine getting drafted to a team and that coach never wanted to even draft you in the first place, and now you have to play for him? That's going to be incredibly difficult, y'all. You're in a lose-lose situation. And the fact that Vince Young even had the success that he had with the Titans is really astonishing. I mean, he made 2 Pro Bowl teams and had a 30-17 record as a starting quarterback for the Titans. playing for a coach that never wanted him, that never believed in him, that never supported him, and that never gave him the love, y'all, that he truly needed. And also, Vince Young never played with a Pro Bowl wide receiver. His best receiver was Justin Gage. No disrespect to Justin Gage, but Justin Gage was just a decent wide receiver at best. So Vince Young never had the coach. He never had the offensive weapons. He never had the offensive scheme and system in place to really thrive, because Jeff Fisher wanted him to play, you know, in the under center a lot. And that was not a Vince Young's skill set. He needed to be in a spread offense to have receivers that were athletic and can make plays down the football field, but we just would not tailor our offense to his skill set. Why, y'all? Because Jeff Fisher never believed in Vince Young. He never wanted him on the team. And after his career with the Titans, he was signed with the Eagles in 2011. He spent a year there, and then in 2012, he was signed with the Bills. But then in August of that same year, he was released. And then in 2013, he signed with the Packers. But then that same year, he was also released. And then in May of 2014, he signed with the Browns. But then 2 weeks later, he was released from the Browns. And so just like that, his NFL career was over, y'all. And again, I just think this is one of the more underrated what ifs in NFL history. You don't hear people talk about this a lot, but can you imagine, y'all, if Vince Young came to a team where the coach believed in him and wanted to cater their offense to him? I mean, I absolutely believe he could have been the greatest dual threat quarterback in NFL history. And I think you look at what Cam Newton did, y'all, in his prime. I mean, when Cam Newton was in his prime, this is a man that had 45 total touchdowns and led the Panthers to the Super Bowl. I absolutely believe Vince Young could have done that. He had all the traits that were very similar to Cam Newton. So I absolutely believe that if Vince Young was in the right system for him to be able to have success, he would have had a stellar NFL career. He would have been the greatest dual threat quarterback in NFL history and a future Hall of Famer. But unfortunately, that did not happen, y'all. But fortunately for Vince Young, he has had a tremendous amount of success. Post his NFL careers, he's become a great businessman, and now he also hosts a podcast alongside his former collegiate coach and Mack Brown. So it's great to see Vince Young doing well post his NFL career, and I hope he continues to do well the remainder of his life, y'all. So there you have it. This was me examining the what if story of Vince Young, why he could have became the greatest dual threat quarterback in NFL history, but unfortunate circumstances preventing him from doing so. If y'all like this type of video, please leave me a comment in the comment box below. Remember, y'all, labs with medicine, so what? Make sure you get your daily dose, y'all. I'm Eminem, and I love y'all. God bless. Peace.